I have these friends, Dan and Sheila. They're podcast hosts.
Welcome to Profiling Criminal Minds. I'm Dan.
And I'm Dr. Redmond.
And we are back with I can't believe we're already on episode 7. Oh, I'm going to be saying this every week until we're done, because this season has just blown by. Like, seriously, think about it. Like, the first episode with Drowning Guy, right? That was just I can't believe that was only 7 episodes ago. So much has happened. It has been so solid. Oh my God. Yes, please.
Yes, well, 3 more episodes after this one.
Yeah.
We've already got a serious cliffhanger.
Oh, do we ever?
And then it's that, but I'm sort of sitting, all I could think of was you always say that even though Criminal Minds, everybody talks about it as if it was a procedural, it's really just a horror show.
Yes.
Like it's like a horror movie. And I'm going, this is the one episode where, God, is it a horror show?
Yeah. Oh, this
with the stress and the tension of a good horror movie.
Yep.
Whoa. I was just like, I don't know that I want to really watch this.
It's so tense this week.
Yes, and
it didn't.
It didn't let up.
No,
it let up sort of like it just. Yes, we're leading into the last 8, 9, and 10, the last 3 episodes, and so this is where you are going to have the stakes.
Yep.
Raised
ratcheting
high,
up real high.
This is real high ratcheting, but. Yeah,
it's so tense from beginning to end this week.
Yeah, that was the thing that got to me.
Yeah,
and Voight's new lawyer.
Oh, I really enjoyed Voight's new lawyer. That was that was a nice guy to see get in there trying to make deals and reminding us the thing, like, one of the reasons I said I don't think he's faking it, and your response was it's like because he wants a deal, and I'm like, he's already got a deal. He's out in 3 years, minimum security. Like, he had a great deal, right? And there's no reason for him to want to go further unless, like I said, it was out of his hands and something he had planned earlier. And now, oh my God, he has his disciple. Now, we all, what do you call it? We all think that's his doctor. We've been clear about why we think that's his doctor.
We don't want it to be his doctor. His doctor.
We love his doctor. It makes logical sense if it's his doctor.
Yeah.
But
particularly because there was
Yes.
There was someone else that was vying for that position, but that person is out of the running now.
Seems to be. The events at the end of the episode would tend to suggest that that person is out of the running. We'll get there. But
so
what I will say is, logically, now set his doctor aside for a second.
Yeah.
Right? Based on the events of this episode, there is logically only one person his disciple could be, the person who's taken over for him can be. And do you know where I'm going with this? Because I'm just going to say, based on the stuff we are told in this episode, there's really only one person logically this could be that would not be like, well, I don't quite believe it. All right. Are you ready?
Okay, go.
Like 100% it's Mr. Scratch.
Because of I can see why you're going with that.
There is, in the entire history of the show, there has only been one character with both the computer and organizational skills necessary to do what this guy is doing. And that's Mr. Scratch.
Plus, of course, Voight is now having these visions.
Oh my God, I was so happy when his uncle came back in vision form.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what a great reveal. Oh my God, what a great reveal.
Yeah, still not convinced that Voight killed his parents, but...
No, I mean, again, like that's just something you can tell a kid.
Yeah.
And they'll believe you as you, help them with your serial, that you make them help you with your serial killing. they will come to believe you because that's all they have around.
Yeah, and as I said, and it might have even been accidental.
Yeah. Hell,
Setting the
uncle
fire,
might have done
you know.
it. Who the hell knows?
Yep. Didn't matter. Voight believes he did it.
Yeah, Voight
Or
believes
excuse
he did
me,
it.
Luke.
Lee?
Lee.
Yeah, Lee Duvall is his real name.
Yes, that's it. Lee Duvall.
Yeah. But yes, when I'm like,
we're babbling all over the place.
Saying,
yes.
Logically speaking, there's only one character in the history of the show who has that. And you're like, isn't Mr. Scratch dead? And I would say, I didn't see him die. Did you see him die? Some fell.
Well, and that's the whole, and that's the whole point in this episode.
Yeah. The
where
entire
Voight's
episode is about, did you see him die? Well,
his uncle
I know
says,
another character.
Did you see me die?
Yeah, I know another character I didn't see die.
Yep.
And that character
is Mr. Scratch.
Mr. Scratch, Peter Lewis. Peter Lewis, Mr. Scratch.
And why? And of course, I mean, I don't like Mr. Scratch as a tagline.
We talked about it before. Yeah.
Yes, but Peter Lewis. Yeah. And remember how we wondered whether or not he was related to Terra.
Are he and Terra related? Is that something they're going to reveal to us later? Well, you know.
Yeah, we went down that road.
I'm just saying, 100%. The only person extant in the world of Criminal Minds who you could slide into this role without drawing any questions whatsoever is Peter Lewis, Mr. Scratch. Just putting it out there. I don't have any reason to believe it's actually Mr. Scratch is back, but given the technological stuff we're asked to believe he does, and given the fact that he has built this entire organization, a thing we know that Mr. Scratch is capable of doing.
Yeah.
Right?
I know. And I know, but
he's a great manager of people.
Yes. And then there's, of course, as I said, and then there's the hallucinations that Voight is having.
Exactly. To someone who thought was dead.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And that is very much the same as the
hallucinations.
Mr. Scratch. Yeah. Well, I mean, remember the hallucinations that Spencer had, etc.
Exactly. Right. And now a lot of those were drug caused, but at the same time, we have they want us to point out. I think they want us to be thinking of these things, whether or not it's directly related. So yeah. I'm ready to be proven wrong that it's Mr. Scratch. Obviously, it's probably not Mr. Scratch. I'm just saying, unless it's Mr. Scratch, I'm going to find it very preposterous that there's another serial killer out there who is unbelievably good at computers.
Well, yes, is as good as
better than
Voight
Penelope.
was. Yeah.
No, but better than Penelope. That's the point. That's why she can't track him.
Well,
right? She tries to track where the signal is coming from, and she can't do it. And she's got 10 minutes to do it in.
And I'm sitting here going, okay, so this is Penelope's coping mechanism, is to pretend that Voight is not evil.
Yes.
That is her coping.
Well, yes, absolutely.
She has to persuade herself that Voight is not truly evil.
Yeah.
And I'm just going, that's a rabbit hole, honey.
It is. But at the same time, I understand completely why she's doing it. Right? Because if, I hate to say it, but if she can prove, to herself at least, right, that essentially Voight did not mean to become this, and deep down he could have been a good person, then it really is nurture creating these serial killers and not nature. And the weird part is, then you can do something about it.
Yes, except that, as we all know, people are so damaged, and that there is nothing. As someone, I can't even remember who it was, where I was, but yes, if I had the next 200 or 300 years, maybe I could reprogram.
Exactly.
Rewire the brain and rewire the emotions and rewire everything that needs to be fixed. It's some people are just so damaged that there is nothing that can be done.
Absolutely. And I'm not disagreeing with that, but
no,
I see how it could, the idea that this Penelope is
attractive to Penelope.
Yes, it's attractive to Penelope, right?
And partly because because she's the one that set off that triggered the release of the spiders in that
Yep.
last guy.
Oh,
And so, I mean, as I said, we're talking all over the place with
well,
this.
no, I mean, it wasn't it was really more the bombs that did him in rather than the spiders.
Well,
The
yes, but
spiders were also in
yes,
there, but she's the one who caused them to go off. Yeah.
yes, because, and actually, technically, Emily is the one because Emily made the decision.
Yes, absolutely.
See the face or find the person.
Mm-hmm.
And so they found the person, and
It set it off.
they still don't know who it is.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it was, as I said, horror movie.
Well, I mean,
It was
the fact
so
that they had
tense.
to like the show. I'm like, because Luke comes in to comfort her. We're assuming everybody has seen the episode because we're just talking about scenes. Luke comes in to comfort her, and I'm like, oh my god, this is why they have the best relationship. It's because we know them so well now that the minute we see her, like, we know how she's feeling. We're like, well, obviously Luke's going to come in and see her. Like, we know exactly.
Yeah, and
what's
Luke is going to try
and Luke is going to do his best because that's what Luke does, and Luke is fantastic. We love you, Luke.
Now, I don't know why she can't keep, like, she doesn't have to burn sage. She could just keep sage in her office.
But I mean, burning sage is how you get rid of evil spirits.
No. What I mean is, like, I'm trying to think of the reason. Okay, it puts smoke in the rooms, which could affect the computers.
No, I mean,
no. I'm talking about why
smoke.
Emily.
That's what I'm saying. You're not
Emily says no.
Well, of course not. You can't have smoke around circuitry. No.
Yeah, and so, and anyway, she wasn't in her circuit in her computer room when she was working on the computer. So trying to track.
No, she was at the start. Later, she worked at the
Yeah, when the critical,
when she was actually doing, when she was actually doing the critical stuff.
Yeah, the critical stuff did not occur in her.
No, it didn't. But what you got to remember is, like, when she's in her own room, that's what she feel has been corrupted by this guy, right? Mm-hmm. Her and her computer operations. So of course she wants to burn sage there. She's not crazy. She's got to get rid of that bad juju.
Yeah, well, the thing is that, that goes against this idea of nurture. Well, maybe evil spirits are causing all of this. Well, okay, that's as bad as saying your genes caused it.
I know. It's just as useful, right?
Yeah, just as useful. You're going to do an exorcism?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, try it.
Hey, you know what? I don't question how she decides to deal with this stuff.
No,
she's got a hard job. I'm definitely
Well, here's the problem. I mean, the big problem for her is she didn't want to come back.
Yes, she was pulled back.
And she was pulled back in, and they pulled her back in, and now she's not getting, other than from really Luke, like nobody except Luke seems to understand just how bad this is for her.
Yeah.
And AJ Cook directed this one.
Oh, nice.
Yes, I noticed that, and I checked. Yeah, she doesn't have much to say in this episode.
We'll talk about the one thing she has to say later. But yeah, JJ's got one line this week, and it's a bad line. But you know what? She was busy directing the episode. I'm not faulting.
And she did a brilliant
job
of directing.
It's so tense.
Look, this thing was
to end,
so tense.
It's incredibly tense.
Yeah.
Like,
so
wow.
That's, as I say, kudos to the directing. I'll tell you. And but as I said, there are some little things there. I want to go back. I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know when I'm going to watch it, but I will watch it.
Yeah.
Because there are some questions I have that I think will be answered if I watch season 1 again.
Okay.
But anyway.
Yeah. Well, and the weird part is when they came back to his uncle, right?
Yeah. I love that guy.
Oh my God, I love him so much.
He was so good in Grimm.
Well, he was so good in Grimm, but ever since Prison Break, we have loved him.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's true.
We've been watching this man forever, and it's just, he's fantastic. But one thing I will say, and it's not a big deal by any stretch of the imagination, right? The minute because I watched the previously on, they talk about how, they talk about family, and I'm like, does he have a secret, like, half brother or cousin or something? was my first thought. Because it's like, I'm 100% sure his uncle's dead, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have any family. Maybe family he doesn't necessarily know about, so it's like, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see when we saw that. That is that was unreal, actually.
Yeah.
It really was, as an episode. Right down to, like, I'm trying to think. It's still an emotional thing. I went and watched Boston Legal afterwards, so that cleansed my brain,
show,
right?
Boston Legal.
Okay, let's do something that's just and then, of course, what do I do?
Yeah.
But see, the last episode I watched is in the first season with the guy who was in those two that we hate, where he played the twins.
Oh, weird.
What's his face, right?
I know the actor you're talking about. Yeah, the twins with Eleanor from The Practice. So there you go.
Yeah. It was funny, eh? So there he is playing, this poor guy who's been bullied all his life, took martial arts, and then accidentally killed somebody. Killed one of the guys guy he accidentally killed, of course, was one of his bullies. But
yeah, of course. But
that's why
I vaguely remember the episode from a long time ago. But it is going to be bad memories because we do really hate that episode.
Those two episodes. Oh, back to back. It's just like,
we just despise them. It's rare for us to say that about a Criminal Minds episode.
Yeah. So then I went and I watched. I actually, after I watched that one, here's what I did first before I went and watched Boston Legal. I went and watched Riding the Lightning again.
Oh, I get it.
Because I just went, and yes, I did still tear up when I get to the end.
You have to.
And all I thought is, okay, somewhere, somehow, there has been nothing about season 1, 2, and 3 of Evolution that rips me apart the same way that episode still does.
Well, no, but I mean, it's a unique episode.
The closest it came was to Damien last season.
Oh my God. That was almost there.
Yeah, that was almost there.
The lightning level.
Yep.
Yeah. But I mean, that's
in terms
how many
of
shows
emotion.
ever get that level of hit you with a show. That's how good Riding the Lightning is,
Yeah.
It's essentially, well, let's face it, death penalty episodes are, there's some really good stuff. I would like to direct you to a certain episode of the TV show Midnight Caller. That you haven't stopped thinking about for the past 40 years.
No, and where we all say, what's his face was robbed.
Yep, robbed of that
Just
Emmy.
Robbed of an Emmy.
Yeah. Oh my God. Midnight Caller is a great show, everybody. You can't watch it, but just trust us on this one.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
We can watch it, but
we can watch it, but we have it on tape. So, all right. The important part is, just skirt back to this briefly.
Yes. Okay. Well, we'll go back to this whole episode.
We'll get back to that. Yeah. We'll get back to the episode, which is, so it's very tense right from the start, right? You've got this guy, he has a horrible death, and then they think he's choking, and he's got the spiders coming out of it. And I gotta say, the respect I have, I know. The respect I have for these writers, right? To drop, in the first season, to say one of these bodies was killed by putting spider eggs in their body and having them hatch and kill them, right? And the fact that we all at the time was like, I don't feel like that would work. And that everyone responded that way with the statement, I don't feel like that would work. It seems, it's preposterous and we like the sound of it, but come on, that doesn't sound plausible. The fact that these writers went back to the drawing board and said, okay, we've committed ourselves to this idea of, having spiders kill you from the inside with the Sicarius spiders, right? So how could that actually happen? How could, if someone were to do that, how could that actually happen? I don't know who they talked to. I don't know whether this version works or not, but the way they described it sounds so authentic that I'm like, I don't care if it would work or not. You did such a good job of explaining it. It's like you're talking about the warp nacelles on the Enterprise,
Yes, that's right.
If all of this science is made up, it sounds so good.
So good.
I'm happy to let you get away with
Oh
it.
God. No, but that opening sequence, and
I
I'm
know.
going, do you think they CGI'd the spiders
Of
in
course they
after?
did. Yeah, of course they
Okay,
did.
'cause I'm going,
Sure, they didn't
I
make
can't,
that man have spiders on his mouth.
I was just
It's
thinking,
not the 80s
because
anymore, you know, where they're just
except
like,
that in the
Alfred
80s,
Molina, let's just cover you in spiders, okay? Alfred Molina,
Oh.
stand very still for an hour. I'm going to put 80 tarantulas on your back, is how they used to do this.
oh yeah. You know, I mean, I just, because I'm just going, like I understand the blood and everything else. I know how all of that was done, but the spiders, and I'm
But
just going,
I know.
just
Ooh,
because
it
they
looks too
did
un-
look
They
real.
looked incredibly real. They looked
Oh,
so good. They looked just
no.
fantastic. And it was so
If they don't get an
creepy.
Emmy, they need to get an
For
Emmy
the special effects they're doing, yeah.
yeah.
They're doing
They
amazing
should have
special
gotten
effects.
last season with that stupid bin.
I know.
Where
You're right. If they didn't win the special effects Emmy for that piranha bin, it's insane that they're not getting nominated for this stuff. Ugh.
no, I mean, and then this was just like, oh my God, that opening sequence. I think
it's
just
incredible.
enough people don't watch it. It turns out that my niece's partner loves Criminal Minds.
Well, that's good.
His favorite TV show.
It's a lot of people's favorite TV show, and watching episodes
And getting
like
more
this,
so.
it's not hard to understand why.
Oh my God, because you can, and there was really no relief whatsoever in this episode.
No, there is. They saved 7 guys at the end.
Well, but that only lowers the level
of how awful you feel. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that's not real relief. There's no positive resolution. Yes, they did. Okay. They did save a bunch of guys at the end who had been traumatized.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievably for how long? Running around.
Exactly. We don't know how long they've been in there.
No. And because there's only been 2 been let loose, so... Mm-hmm. And I just, you know, and these lines about, you know, hell and evil and souls, unquiet souls in hell, and I'm just going, okay, go to the demons. I don't care. You know, yeah.
Well, that's
let's do the demonology thing.
I know. Suddenly we're back to our beloved Criminal Minds suspect behavior.
Yeah. Yep.
Talking about demonology.
Mm-hmm.
That was such a weird show. Oh, we miss you, Suspect Behavior.
I needed an ending for Suspect Behavior, and we never got it.
That thing. Oh.
I mean, they needed to give us at least a few more episodes to finish it.
I know, it's so frustrating.
Oh, anyway.
All right. Here's the important part. Here's the important part.
I don't even remember the sequence in these things, like some of the parts of it.
I do, luckily.
Because you have watched it after me, way after me.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's not way after you. We both watched it today.
Yes, I know, but 6 hours difference.
It's not like you watched it, 2 weeks ago or something.
No, I watched it at 8:30 this morning.
Still not a good excuse.
No, I know.
Anyway. No.
Well, I guess I could remember
here's where I get into the criticism slightly. All right. So now I'm going to say some stuff because we'll talk about Voight this week and how amazing he is this week in a second. Right? Just wow. But before we get there, I'm going to critique the writing a little. So a dead body shows up, right? And they're like, we don't know who this dead body is. Okay, great. So they're like, how are we going to figure this out? And so they find on his body some compacted or reinforced or whatever polyurethane, right? And this is the dumbest line I've ever heard in my life. And that's saying something because,
Criminal Minds is full of dumb lines.
They used to say a lot of dumb lines is the thing to justify the characters finding stuff out. So JJ says, so-and-so polyurethane. And then Emily, is it Emily or Tara? It's not important. Says they use that in everything, like so-and-so, children's slides. And then JJ says, yes, But if it's colored blue, it's for only one thing: barrels to move fertilizer. What are you talking about? A piece of blue plastic can only be for fertilizer barrels?
I can buy garbage bags that are blue.
Well, no,
plastic.
but we're talking about the
I'm sorry.
reinforced. No, we're talking about reinforced.
I know.
Polyurethane. But the thing is, she says playground
so
equipment. Spoiler alert: I've seen blue playground equipment. I got a playground on the way to where the beach I go to swim. There's a playground there, and it's got a lot of those plastic playground equipment. And you know what color the slide is? It's blue. Like, the idea that blue polyurethane can only be used in fertilizer drums is absolutely ludicrous. It's
there were
insane.
a few. Okay. I didn't write down all the little things that I thought were, but yes, that was. I'm just going, but no, because I just saw somebody get out a blue bag for something.
Yeah,
specifically, and I can't remember on the weekend.
Rain barrels are made of the same thing. When I was a kid, I remember going to the hardware store with my grandfather to get 4 giant polyurethane barrels that were blue to build a raft around.
Yes, like, and after all, our blue bins, we used to have blue bins for
same kind of plastic. And the thing is, like,
paper.
If she had said, right, polyurethane and traces of what do they say?
Whatever they call it
on it, then you'd be like, oh, that kind of blue plastic is used for the barrels that they move ammonium nitrate in. I'm like, great, that's fine. But no, for her to say that the color blue in polyurethane is only used for barrels to ship specifically ammonium nitrate, like, nope. Specifically for fertilizer barrels, no, that's just not true.
So there.
So they keep, and this is a little callback to False Flag. Maybe the dumbest episode of Criminal Minds. It's a debatable point. False Flag, because that episode was also kind of under the impression that, like, ammonium nitrate in and of itself is a powerful explosive.
And it's fertilizer.
Nitrate. It is. And you use
ammonium
nitrate. Yes. It is fertilizer. You can use it to make explosives, right? It's an important part of gunpowder. But it's not explosive it's not a giant explosive in and of itself. Hence, ammonium nitrate and fuel oil, or ANFO explosives, which did lead to that hilarious thing in
Profiler.
In
False Flag. Oh, yes, never mind.
Where he had giant bags that say ANFO on them, and he's like, I like to grow tomatoes. Like, yeah, but that's not ammonium nitrate. That's ammonium nitrate and a fuel oil, an explosive that you can't use to fertilize tomatoes, and it's also incredibly illegal for you to have. But, it was the prop department making a mistake, or the script making a mistake, or whoever. It's weird to see that mistake back. But here's why it's so preposterous, because they want to give them a clever way to find him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, like, they don't. The minute they go to Penelope and say, we're looking for someone in the fertilizer business who's disappeared in the past week. And she presses, I swear to God, 3 buttons on her computer and has managed to enter that information into the computer. And they're like, I got your victim. I'm like, wait a minute, so he had already been reported missing? Why did you have to go through all of this rigmarole with figuring out what plastic was used under his fingernail? Why not, when you found a dead body without ID on it, just go through a list of missing persons?
Yeah, now we get back to this is the easy way.
Yeah.
And they only do the easy way, right? When they've got so much other crap to do.
I know. Whereas this week
that they have to actually, we could call the cops and look at this list.
Yeah.
But and then that's how we find the house. We got 3. We narrowed it down to 3. Well, 3 is a reasonable number to look into. Exactly. And we're going to find the person. No, yes, this is when they have more room to expand
Yeah.
into their story. Like,
No,
but the point is,
the fact is, it's when it's not a complicated mystery, but they need to pretend like you need some special ability or insight to solve it, when really all you had to do was take a picture of the dead body and run it against the driver's license of everyone who'd gone missing in the past week in the area. And the answer is they found him real fast for that reason. I mean, again, it's a bit of sleight of hand from the writers to try and make it seem like the team is doing something impressive. I get why they do it. It's just a little funny to watch. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, well, I'm going.
It's not like we're
And
against
nobody
it.
mentioned condoms and heroin, Never mind. I was thinking,
it's the same way they use, as
it's
they say
the
with
same
the condoms.
thing,
It's
right?
the same way they use for drug smugglers. Yeah, they mentioned that.
Yeah,
Except now they're full of spiders.
Yeah, and I'm just
I'm sorry. I do want to say how much I loved that scene where they're like, oh, just like drug smuggling. I've heard of drug smuggling. Wait, wouldn't the spider suffocate? And then they're like, you would think so. But when you put a spider cold, it goes into a state of hibernation. So it doesn't actually require that much breathing to do. The level they go to of explaining how it is plausible that there could be spiders in a man's stomach made me incredibly happy. They're like, no.
Well, you see, that is like,
we want every question answered.
Okay. But you see, X-Files answers that question much differently, answers that it is an alien virus. And as long as you keep it cold, it's inert.
Yes. But that's science fiction magic. This has to be plausible to the audience. All of the wags like us, who when we were watching the first season said, I don't think that would work. And then they have to do they've devoted an entire speech that they gave just to saying, no, you're wrong about this. It would work. We did the research this time.
Yeah.
And I love that so much because it's in conversation with the fans, basically.
Yes, I know.
So anytime I feel like they're in conversation with the fans, it makes me really happy.
Oh, the Sicarius spiders. Yes, the long discussion.
Spiders, man. But yeah, it would not be hard to find. Speaking of things that aren't hard to find, so you want to talk about like the most preposterous hacks or just work that Penelope has ever done. Last year, I made this joke when they were tracking down like the Swiss bank accounts of all of the murderers who had been hired by the mercenary organization to kill the remaining members of the Gold Star program, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Tyler has found out that they were paid using a Cayman bank, right? So they were paid using cutouts from a Cayman bank account. Offshore money transfers. And so Penelope says, I'm on it. And then I started a stopwatch, and something like 8 seconds later, she had the list of everyone who had been paid by the handler. And immediately, even though these are theoretically like just numbered accounts, she already knew the name and addresses of every single person the handler had paid for this assassination job. And I swear to God, it was 8 seconds. And I thought, this is the most preposterous hack ever. It might have been 12 seconds. I apologize. But the point is, like, this is her most preposterous feat of computing ever. Until this week. Because everyone is quite sad about the guy getting his stomach blown up by bombs, and there's also spiders in there, which is incredibly creepy, right?
Right.
Okay. Everyone's still sad about that. But they based on what he had said, they make the completely reasonable intuition, right? That the work must have been being done from a
moving
mobile
van
location. And so so it needs to be a full truck. And so they think to themselves, okay, they probably, used his truck, the truck of the first guy, the guy with the spiders in his stomach who was moving the ammonium nitrate that they used in their whole process, right? So they're probably still using his truck. And this is a weird moment because Emily says, get out a 3-block radius, right? And, a go back 3 days for a so-and-so block radius around the place where the truck dumped that trailer, because we know where that trailer is now, because we turned the tracker on, right? So go to the place where it dumped the trailer, and then we'll catch a video of the truck leaving. And the thing that puzzled me was, why do you need video from there of the truck leaving when you already know what the truck looks like? Because it's that guy's truck. Like, I don't know why you need video footage. If it wasn't that guy's truck, then yeah, you would need video footage. But apparently it was that guy's truck, so wouldn't you already know its license plate and what it looks like? But the much better thing is, so she says that, and and Penelope says on it. And then I haven't done a stopwatch yet, but I'll have to check. But I would say she goes from being told what she needs to find to, I would say, approximately 8 seconds later, maybe 6 seconds later, saying, got it. The police are already on the way. So she has, within that 6 to 8 seconds, downloaded the previous 3 days worth of footage, identified the truck, put out an APB put out an APB for the truck, and had the truck located, and the cops are on their way to find it.
Okay, so shall we call her Merlina?
Yes, that's what I'm
Instead
saying.
of Merlin, we'll just say Merlina.
At this point,
Okay,
yes,
here-
it's magic.
But the thing that bothered me
Please.
about that, I agree that was, okay. So we're watching, it's only 50 minutes long or 55 minutes long or whatever it is. So, and I didn't think about that, but I did think, why would they still be using this guy's truck?
And it's because they wanted to be caught?
That's what did they want to be caught?
I think so.
Because the only reason my car was stolen once.
Yeah.
And it's because my keys dropped out of my pocket and they found these keys, and then they went through the parking garage to find the car that the keys belonged to, right?
Which is, easy thing to do.
But we got our car back in one piece. There wasn't even a dent on it. A few things were stolen out of it, but that was it. 4 days later, because these guys just used the car because they had the keys to drive around.
And then they just left it.
They were part of a stolen car ring.
Yeah.
But they needed to take people places, and this was an easy car. So, of course, they eventually found it. And I'm going, did they want to get caught? Because why would they use this guy's truck?
Well, the guys, I gotta say, the guys who were there, but the guys who were there do not seem particularly surprised when the cops come to get them. I think they were fine. I think that was part of the plan, weirdly enough. I don't know
we'll
how
find
they got
out
these guys
because
to sign off on it, but I think it was.
It might have been part of the plan so that we can get everything that follows from it.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe that's where there's some scopolamine in the truck or something that needed to be wafted through so that Voight would see his uncle. I don't know.
No. We're talking about the second truck here. Now
Yes,
we're talking
I
about the
know.
second truck, which Voight was not at.
Yes, but there was. Never mind. The first truck. Yes.
No. But now we're talking about the second truck and the fact that those guys were just kind of hanging out, waiting to get caught. Apparently.
Almost. Yes.
No, they were. It's not like they were driving it. They were just kind of.
Well, no, they did. They did close it up, and they were going to go back into the. They did go back into the cab of the truck.
That's true. And then,
and then all of a sudden the cops rolled up. Oh, okay.
And they did not seem particularly concerned about the fact that the cops are rolling up.
No.
But yes. And I did like the immediate reveal. Because they were like, wait a minute, how could anyone possibly know about your specific method for killing people with Sicarius? And he's like, only me, my uncle, and my previous lawyer knew that information. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, it's not really much of a mystery how you got that information then. Because
since the previous lawyer is dead.
Yeah, well, now we know that. But at the time, but the minute he says his lawyer knew the information, I'm like, okay, well, I guess his uncle doesn't have to be really be alive if his lawyer knew about it, because we knew his lawyer was shady and trying to murder him. So there you go. So
but why would he have told his lawyer about it?
you know what? Again, I don't know why. That's one of those things we just have to accept. They offered us an explanation that makes perfect sense, and we're just going to accept it. Because it's not like he didn't have his lawyer going through his, secret bags. He did have his lawyer go through his secret boxes. That lawyer knew a lot. The lawyer was involved in the organization. Okay, if you or I are saying realistically he probably shouldn't have told his lawyer how to put Sicarius spiders in somebody's stomach, I'm not going to argue with you. But from a narrative standpoint, it is a perfectly plausible explanation for how these people know without his uncle still being alive. And that's the only role it needs to serve, like from a writing standpoint. Is it plausible that this is how the people in the organization could have known? Yeah, that's completely plausible. So there you go. But,
unless he did really have a disciple who knew.
Yeah, he's done telling us about that. But again, like, he really doesn't have much motive for not telling us about that unless there's some really elaborate extra game going on. I know.
That all depends on whether we want Voight to be around next season.
Well, that's a good question. Will he be around next season? Have they announced that? I don't want to know. This is why I don't.
No, I don't want to. No, I don't want to know. But that is, you see, this episode, because I'm watching him completely, watch Voight and go back and look at Voight's face and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I tell you, he's such a good actor. Oh my God. So it's fascinating. We if we get to the Voight, we've got the Rebecca and Tara thing going on.
Yeah, which we'll talk about in a minute.
But the
Voight stuff first.
Let's do the Voight stuff first, but because it is, so he's got a new lawyer.
Yeah. Well, he would have to. His old lawyer, had mysteriously disappeared after, being connected to a bunch of murders.
Yeah.
Quite understandable.
Yeah, we remember, yes. Yeah. And so he needed a new lawyer.
Yeah.
But this is this is nobody we've seen before.
No, this is a completely new character who apparently is quite a shark. And I'm like, how did he get this lawyer? He does not seem that interested in getting out of this. He's got a pretty good lawyer, though. So I guess his... and
the lawyer is going to get him out of all of this.
Exactly. Yeah, he's ready for, full immunity for this stuff, which, I understand him being able to negotiate. Like I said previously with my comments about Lucky Luciano. Same basic deal, You get a good enough hand and the government will let you get away with anything, basically.
Yeah.
It's a bleak sentiment, but it is 100% true. Or they let you, quote unquote, kill yourself in prison. But that's a whole other conversation. Sorry, I shouldn't joke. But it is exactly what happened. No, so he's got a new lawyer. The new lawyer is a shark. He is absolutely not going to let them exploit Voight anymore without a deal, which, that's your lawyer. I expect him to do that. And Voight is sometimes going along with the lawyer says, but then also willing to help them without a new signed deal when they ask for even more from him. Because that's the thing. When they ask him to help, he gets a new signed deal. And then they ask him, oh yeah, we also want you to walk into a trap. Right? We want you to walk into a trap, but he does not and the lawyer wants more for that, I think quite understandably. And Voight says, no, I'm just going to go. So there you go.
But you see, he
is not pulling as hard as possible for these deals.
Okay. But that is just is that just part of the game?
It could
be. You see, it's really hard to sort of sort that out. Is that part of the game or isn't it?
I still think all of this is legitimate, and he is actually we are watching this man try and figure out who he is. But yes, that is not something that I can be 100% sure of, and they have been jerking us around all season, and I'm not going to pretend I don't love it, because I do.
Oh, no, I love it. It's just because it gets it. By the way, we have a fan who's on Team Sheila and has said so.
One of our communicators thinks you're right. Okay.
Yep. I haven't responded yet again.
Sold you and at least one listener. So thanks for that, everybody.
Anyway,
I mean, although it would be
well,
hilarious
this
if like the real
episode-
twist was
yeah.
that Peter Lewis was back and I was right about my crazy. That would be the real twist this year.
That would be the real twist. Yes.
No, Peter Lewis is still alive. Oh, okay. There you go.
Okay. Oh. Well, if somebody like Peter Lewis, but it has to be somebody like
But
that.
on that level, it has
Testa.
to be someone on that level of
Yes,
organization
for
and
sure.
computer skill. And we just don't know many people who have that level of computer skill. Here are the characters who've had that level of computer skill. Peter Lewis, the guy from the Black Queen episode that Jeffrey Combs played.
Yeah.
That's it. And I don't think it's Jeffrey Combs. So I know that they're probably just going to introduce the greatest hacker they've ever seen. But I'm just saying, logically, organizational skill, psychopathy, organizational skill, talent in manipulating people. I'm just saying, it all says Peter Lewis, Mr. Scratch, is the one responsible for all of this. And it turns out, it's going to turn out that Peter Lewis is his cousin somehow. So there you go. Now,
But
that's not true.
Yes.
Well, it would be a distant cousin, but I mean, that would be, I'm just saying, the funniest possible way for this to go is what I've just described. And you know I'm right, that would be the most entertaining.
Well, it would be the most entertaining Easter egg in the world.
Yes, it absolutely would. Oh no, Mr. Scratch has been alive this whole time.
Whole time. And supporting and become Voight's best friend.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying. It's not impossible. It is impossible, but I would love it so much if it happened. Oh, it would be so funny. So it's not Mr. Scratch, but there's definitely going to be some explanation. Although I got to say, the idea that, you would be able to manipulate and find this kind of person, it is the kind of thing you would expect his psychologist doctor, right? His doctor who knows all about psychology and can do therapy on people. That kind of guy, it is a personality trait a skill set that someone with that personality trait and job would definitely have. So just putting it out there, it still could be his doctor quite easily, although that would not explain the ridiculous computer skills.
But we know nothing about her other than.
That's true. Maybe she has
a
sideline in this.
And remember how good she was with JJ.
Yeah, absolutely. At manipulating JJ.
Yeah.
And you can say, well, wasn't that just good therapy? All good therapy is manipulation. It's the exact same skill set, everybody. It's getting someone to move their mind to the place you needed to get to go. That's why it is a very dangerous skill and why bad therapy can absolutely ruin people.
Yep.
Because your therapist is designed to walk your brain to someplace it needs to go, which is why an unethical therapist is like the worst thing that you can have.
Yeah.
By a pretty wide margin.
Yeah, well, we won't get into that at this point.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that.
That's not that rabbit hole is closed right now.
For now, yes.
For now.
Well, we could actually go back down Mr. Scratch territory when we want to talk about the damage that a bad therapist can do.
This can do. Oh my God. And then, of course, Hannibal Lecter.
And of course, Hannibal Lecter, very good therapist. I will not let anyone say that Hannibal Lecter. Unethical? Yes. But I would say that for the most part, except when he was using one, when he manipulated a guy to go absolutely nuts so that Bedelia would murder him, then yeah, okay, absolutely. That was too far. But mostly I would say his therapy is pretty good.
Yeah, as long as it wasn't part of his
no,
we're not going down that rabbit hole. I'm sorry I brought it up.
I love Hannibal. I'm not going to pretend I don't love Hannibal.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful show.
You can now watch it, everybody, if you want to go watch. We're talking about the TV show.
Of course, yeah. Hannibal, the TV show. It's the best. So let's get to this thing. I think this week it did perform. I would argue that this week and him talking to his uncle's avatar provides more evidence for my take on what's going on with Voight than for yours. It really doesn't seem like an act. He really does seem shocked and disbelieving that his uncle could still be alive. He really does. It does not feel like a game he's playing, especially because no one's watching his reactions. Now you can say
except the camera.
Well, yeah, except for the camera. But Penelope is only watching the uncle's avatar. She's not watching him. Now you can say she's probably recording all that and he knows he's going to be watched later. And you're absolutely right. No one is watching him in the moment, and he really does play like he's in the moment. But you are right that he could intellectually know that someone is going to watch him later and see if it feels like it is an act. Like, I'm not going to argue that point. You are right. But the way he played it, this is a man, it seems to me, who is having this honest reaction to seeing a man that he is 100% certain was dead because he murdered him.
Well, no. And in fact, we all looked at him, right?
Yeah.
And realized that it was bad. But the thing is that his brain, even before it was suggested to him, does go to this with his uncle avatar,
yes.
Not even the avatar. His brain has gone to that place of, I've already told you, always make sure they're dead.
Yes.
And we know, because we saw it, he walked away before his uncle died. He didn't hang around watching his uncle die.
No.
And so the fact that he didn't follow the rules is something that can make him, of course, susceptible, because he didn't follow the rules. Susceptible to, oh shit, no matter what condition he was in, because I don't think he was pretending his uncle.
No, I don't think the uncle was pretending to be dying
Cyrus.
of emphysema when he died.
No, I don't know.
Was only pretending to die of emphysema when he came in and poisoned him.
No. And, it's just that little doubt because he didn't hang around and watch.
Yeah.
And
now,
that was always...
We had it confirmed to us in the first season by the local cops that Cyrus is dead. But that's not information that Lee/Voight has.
They might not have bothered giving it to him.
Yeah.
Ever.
He might not know that. Like, he might not know that confirmed death happened. So there you go. Now, another interesting thing there is, now, one thing that I will say about the episode, the one implausible thing, I understand why they want to have her, have Emily decide which of the two things to go after, but I'm just saying, realistically, you could not use an algorithm to tell you what the original face of a deep faked image was. You can't. Because it's being streamed live, the deep faking of the image would be happening on the killer's local computer, and the finished image is what is being broadcast. Unless you had access to his local computer, you couldn't get under the mask because only the mask is being broadcast. When I stream, right? If I press a button, I can put a comic book panel image up on my stream. And it is on top of whatever my desktop looks like. But the thing is, if you are watching that stream, the only information being broadcast is the comic book image. On my computer, you could just click a button and find out what my desktop looks like because that's under the actual image. But as being broadcast, the only data being sent is the comic book image. So there's no way to get under the comic book image to find out what the desktop looks like on the stream end of things, only on my end of things. And likewise, if you have a computer creating an avatar of Cyrus to cover your body and face, right, and replace your physicality with his motions, all of that would only be happening on the computer of the real killer, of the disciple. So there would be no way to decode that remotely. I'm just saying, they have Emily make a decision where really there's no decision to be made. The only thing you can try to do is figure out where something is broadcasting from. And
you would think that Merlina would know that.
Well, no, and that's what she should. Honestly, the line should have been can you find out what he looks like underneath that mask? Because she can detect that it's a deep fake, right? Just based on, artifacting.
Like the BAU stuff.
Exactly, like the BAU gate
BAU
stuff.
gate stuff.
Well, let's not forget that they have his code for how to detect deepfakes, right?
Yep.
They have the code he built to help you detect what a deepfake is. So they could be using his own code for that now. Who knows? So they can tell it's a deepfake, but there would be no way. And all she would have to say is, no, there's no way to tell what the original image is. They're broadcasting the avatar. There's no way to tell what the original image is all she would have to say.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying, this is just plausibility stuff. The rest of it works fine. And yeah, who was behind that? Was it his doctor? Was it Mr. Scratch? I mean, it can't be the old friend of Rebecca for pretty obvious reasons. Oh my God. Oh, I mean, The thing is, I know that theoretically the characters in television shows frequently go to a parking garage without getting murdered. But like, if you're a character in a TV show, you have to associate parking lots with, people trying to kill you, right? I feel like nothing good has ever happened in a parking lot on a TV show.
I still cannot. That is okay. That is the one part of this show
you found too preposterous.
I thought, why did they just go like that without any protection into a the parking lot? And I mean, particularly, and here's the problem. Somehow or another, the whole building went on lockdown.
Yeah.
And we know, or we suspect, that there is somebody inside the building.
We were worried about that.
Why aren't they worried about that?
Well, to be fair, the parking lot they get attacked in is the parking lot of the lawyer. Like, it's not.
Yes, I know that, but why aren't they suspicious? And why aren't they more careful? And why don't they take a driver who drops them off at the front door?
Yeah, why are you parking in the parking garage? You're the FBI. You can just stop out front. You think you're going to get a ticket?
Yeah.
Last I checked, they don't ticket FBI cars in Washington, D.C.
And as far as I'm concerned, because it would have been just as effective if the two of them had been shot on the street in front of the lawyer's building as it was in the lawyer's building's parking lot.
But it would be more plausible. But I'm going to let you in on a behind the scenes secret.
Ooh,
that's more expensive to film.
Yes, of course it is, because you got to call.
Because you have to shut down a street, and you can only do it in a couple hours. Here, they can just pick up this shot whenever they want.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God! So
in whatever parking lot they want,
any parking lot. Maybe it's the same parking lot where where Emily got framed for beating up.
Yep.
Beating up her best friend. Like these things are possible, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm not going to pretend I wasn't like, oh my God. Like, it was manipulative. It was contrived. But the minute we saw Tara got shot, it was like, oh my God, no. Like, they still got me.
Yeah. No. They still got me. But I mean, and you knew it.
Contrivance.
Yeah.
You knew what was coming.
You knew it was coming. You knew they were going to be shot. So her lawyer friend, who had taken over, because she'd basically been retired from the job of being the liaison.
Well, no, just on this case.
On this case, yes, I know. And then show her. So we know. So okay. So now he's dead. Probably, and then Tara has been shot.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be fatal, because those two shots are
they're
lower.
Mass.
So the lungs,
they're lower than her heart. It's getting shot in the lungs, intestines, and stomach. They're not great.
No,
but she probably wasn't shot in the heart, and this should be survivable. But oh my God.
Yes, assuming. But my first thought was, why aren't you calling 911? I know you love her, and I know you're upset.
She was about to call 911. No, like, come on.
Take a look. I went and looked back a second time.
She's about to call 911. It's fine. But you're right. She should have called immediately.
I'm just going, yes, I know. So your
But
so
here's
your
the
best
real
friend
question.
from university and your
Yeah.
and your and your lifelong partner.
Yep. I know. I agree. No, call right
Okay.
away. But she was shocked. She was shocked, and we just have to let her be shocked.
Yes. I know.
One thing I will say is I'm interested to see why was Tara targeted?
Yeah, that is you can understand why the lawyer was targeted potentially,
Theoretically.
her friend theoretically. You can kind
Yeah.
of understand that, but Tara, like I would have
Why is
thought
Tara being
Rebecca might have. But why Tara? What does Tara know?
Well, do you know what I was absolutely going to say?
Because she's Peter Lewis's cousin. I know.
No, not because she was Peter Lewis's cousin. That's what I always say. But no, this time I'm going to point something out.
Okay.
Now, we have no confirmation. We have the furthest thing from confirmation that his doctor is involved in this. But one thing I will say is his doctor essentially is specializing in the exact same thing Tara is specializing in.
Right.
Meaning, if his doctor suggested or said something nuts or, irrational some way in treatment, or that doesn't make sense that she needed to accomplish, Tara would be the one who could call her on it. Tara would be the one who heard that information and said, wait, that doesn't make sense. None of the other team has the skill set necessary to address clinical treatment of his, burgeoning anti-psychopathy that he's going through. The only person who could hear of a treatment idea and say, that makes sense or that doesn't make sense, is Tara.
Okay, that goes to my theory, though.
That she might have...
That helps.
Theory?
No, but that helps my theory that Voight is still faking it.
Oh, no, yeah. Well, no, it could, or it could just be that the doctor wants to do something to spring him, right? Whether he's involved or not. And Tara would be the one who would know to say that doesn't make sense. And without her there, the rest of the team might not.
Or she's already done or said something that Tara hasn't picked up on.
But Tara might have figured it out. Yes.
And that's exactly. So if Tara's in the hospital for the next
2 episodes,
1 to 2, she's got to be in there with those shots.
Oh yeah. And then in the third episode, right, she'll be in a coma all next week, and then she'll come out of it just at the end of episode 9, having remembered the important thing, which is the reason she was shot. And then boom, we're off and running.
Yeah.
And then we'll get a big reveal for the final episode.
So it kind of goes to partly you, and it kind of goes to partly me.
It reinforces both of our ideas, but the fact that she's Peter Lewis's cousin also could be the reason for this. Oh, so many evil cousins.
Oh, we're having fun with Peter Lewis one more time.
We are. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I saw a man fall off a roof. I didn't see a man die. That's what I say about that.
Yeah.
I'm sure that it's like, I am sure the NSA would have been happy to have him back if they could have faked his death.
Yeah.
I'm sure given, the state of the NSA, I'm sure given the state of the world, they would be happy to work with a serial killer who is just really good at breaking encryption.
And they would just keep him locked in the dungeon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
sure,
Peter
why
Lewis
not?
Can still be out there. There's no reason to confirm that Peter Lewis isn't still out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Making a hassle. I think the NSA would have loved to have that man back. All right, that's enough about Peter Lewis.
Yeah, that's
Good
enough.
Old Mr. Scratch.
I don't know if this is coherent. It's only everything that we've been talking about is only coherent if you've seen the episode.
Oh no, this would be complete gibberish because the thing is, the episode moves along at such a clip and just races from one thing to the
You're
next.
just like boom.
Yeah, and like we have to talk about these little pieces of it because, like, it really is just, and this is what a great job AJ Cook and her editors did of turning it into just one of the most propulsive hours they've done. And especially it is by far the most propulsive hour this season. It picks you up right away and it never lets you go. It keeps you on the back foot the whole hour.
Yeah. And I mean, the uncle was just brilliant.
Yeah.
That the whole thing. Yeah. And then even when Joe and Emily are talking.
Yep.
And even when Tyler is talking, you just never, Tyler comes up with this thing, but he doesn't explain it the second time around.
Yeah.
And, all of this is
I want to hear you playing, Tyler.
driving
Why are you being so coy about what your theory is, Tyler? Let's hear it.
Yeah, come on.
Because they get distracted with, some other stuff, which is understandable.
Yeah, and it's just a constant movement forward of something, which is maybe, I don't know why these things, because of course we know nothing about Voight's lawyer.
No.
This new lawyer.
About this new man. He has come out of nowhere and now been used to set a bunch of, Justice Department people up to be murdered. Yikes.
Yeah. So
I will say one thing though.
What?
It's not wrong that you've got a conflict of interest. I mean, that's just true. A lawyer.
Oh, you mean with Rebecca?
Yeah, like Rebecca should be taken off the case. Like,
well, and she did understand that.
Yeah, she did.
In the end, I mean, she was upset, but
yeah, I understand why Tara would rather she stay on the case. But I think she's overreacting to think they're going to action her out of her career.
Yes, but that's Rebecca. Come on. Remember that she was already doing that. That's just
true. That
her
is
personality.
How she reacts to things. You're right.
Yes. When she and Tara, oh no,
she is ready to catastrophize things. Yes.
Yes, she's ready to turn everything. And now almost the worst possible thing has happened.
Yep. Oh my
for
God.
her. Yeah. So it's going to be. So she's going to have to, I guess, I don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to bring in another lawyer? Well, who knows?
I know, right? Like,
is Rebecca going to go back to it because she's so angry? Hopefully Tara isn't. I can't imagine Tara.
They're not.
Dead.
I mean,
they're not going to kill off
Tara. We hope. They already killed off one character this year. We could be coming up on a bloodbath. Who the hell knows with this show? All bets. Yeah. Will is dead. All bets are off. We have no significant emotional investment in any other character the way we did with him. So, like, as far as we're concerned, anybody is fair game at this point. It's scary, man. It's scary being a Criminal Minds fan these days. You never know what you're going to get. But that's why we're here.
Yes, and that's exactly why we're here. But no, in terms of pacing and everything else, this was just a top-notch episode. I just right to the end, even when I knew it was going to happen, I'm just like you going, okay, oh, please, why are you
they're walking
here?
Into an ambush. We know. Obviously, we know they're walking into an ambush. We've seen television.
Yep.
We know what's coming. It's a nightmare, but we know it's coming. But yeah, I think it's a great episode all around. I mean, it's so scary. It is so intense. I mean, for whatever quibbles we had about the mechanics of finding these guys, it's all in service of a really dramatic no way out situation. And the tragedy you feel because they aren't able to save this guy because they get it into their heads that they always save people. And I mean, and where they leave Penelope. Oh my God.
I mean, Poor
Penelope. So yeah, I think it was a fantastic episode all around. I have zero complaints this week. I absolutely
Penelope's going to have a meltdown.
Yeah, she really deserves to.
Yep.
This woman is allowed to have a meltdown at this point.
She didn't want to be there in the first place.
Exactly. And it's all Tyler's fault that she's back.
Yep.
But hey, Tyler's doing a pretty good job, so there you go.
What can we say?
He's fitting in quite well with the team, as we knew he would. All right, so I guess that's that. We cannot wait for next week. Is Peter Lewis back? We'll find out soon enough. He's definitely not back. This is just me pointing out that, it fits a specific MO quite effectively. So
we need to have a Peter Lewis-like character show up at some point.
I mean, to be a hacker on the level of Penelope, I wasn't joking when I said the show has essentially said that's basically impossible. There's Penelope, who it's not. There's Voight, who's not the one doing this, right? And beyond that, we have had like just a handful of characters. Yeah. Oh, wait, I've got another one.
Okay.
The hacker that the organization of assassins held hostage in an apartment somewhere to make him
Oh,
do all their hacking.
jeez. Oh, God, yes.
So one other character. I had one other character
in
who was
that
level.
bungalow.
Just no, it was just an apartment. Oh yeah, it was just a bungalow.
It was a
one-story
bungalow.
building. You're right. And then we had to imagine that these like globe-trotting assassins were just hanging out in this bungalow, making sure this guy didn't run off.
Yes.
Oh, I know. It's very silly. Very silly. All right. So that's that. I think, is it fair to say we can't wait for next week?
Oh, yeah, I can't wait for next week.
They got us with one hell of a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I know.
The weird part is, now I want to ask, is this the second time a parking lot based cliffhanger happened at the end of episode 7? I want to look up if Paul F. Tompkins frames her at the end of episode 7, because it would be really funny if it was, but it probably wasn't. It was probably earlier last season, but it would be hilarious if it was also in episode 7 that we had a parking lot cliffhanger. But I have no reason to believe that's the case. We'll check. All right, so that's that. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, if there's any profiling related fiction you'd like us to check out, people seem comfortable getting online and telling me that I'm wrong. So if you want to do that, be my guest. If you're listening on an app, podcatcher, watching on YouTube, hi, thanks. Rate, review, and subscribe. That's how people find out about the show. We're going to be back next week as we get closer to answers. I mean, I think I'm not alone in assuming that the show is not going to take its foot off the gas for the entire next 3 episodes, right?
Well, it can't.
After that episode? Yeah.
No, it can't.
We're just going full speed at the end of it. Right?
Oh, my Lord.
Exactly right.
That's all I can say. I'm not even going to speculate about where it's going to go, because this episode, as I said, for me, it did not. It was I was stressed no end watching this episode.
No,
I mean,
fantastic episode.
Not personally stressed.
No,
I just had to keep
it
going.
Keeps you on the edge of your seat, like all of the best thrillers.
Yeah,
and again. Yeah. AJ Cook and her editors can be incredibly proud of how this week episode turned out.
Yep.
They needed a nail biter, and wow, did they give us one.
Yeah.
Damn. It's so good.
This really is AJ's season, I'll tell you.
Oh my God, is it ever? Like between getting amazing set piece episodes and such wonderful chance to flex as an actress, and then boom, she also directed a great episode.
Yep.
This is a real standout. But again, if you want to talk Emmy contender, if Voight's not getting an Emmy nomination, if Zach Gilford isn't, there's no justice in the world. Supporting cast member on a serial television show, right?
Well, all I can say is just remember Tom Cruise does not have an Oscar.
I know, and it doesn't make sense. And let's face it, after Magnolia, he gave up on trying.
Yes. Oh, Magnolia. Never mind. We're not going down that rabbit.
That's another conversation.
That's another rabbit hole again that we
We're
could
not
just
gonna
go
down that right now. I'm just saying Zach Gilford, this episode really just what a job he is doing.
Yeah, for sure.
What a job he's doing.
For sure.
Because that's the thing. Whether he is honestly, whether the character is honestly getting his memories back and dealing with amnesia and feeling empathy for the first time in his life, or whether the character Voight is pretending to do that, what is undeniable is that Zach Gilford is bringing a performance unlike anything we've ever seen on the show. Right? It's as simple as that. All right, so enjoy that. For now, though, we'll see you back here next week. But until then, I'll say that's right. Au revoir.
And have a good week.